fall, September, right now is the single best season to use to your advantage. And the reason is simple. It's only 4 months. This matters a lot. We've talked about January versus September, right? And this isn't like a death match between these two things. It's about you understanding the context of those seasons and how to use them to your advantage. And earlier, I shared with you that January is important because it's a whole year, because it's a clean slate, because it opens up this ability for you to dream bigger than you normally would. And that's super important. But let's go to September. You only got 4 months between now and the end of the year. And this matters when it comes to productivity because of something called Parkinson's law. Now, Parkinson's law is this law of nature about time and productivity. And here's what Parkinson's law says. Any project that you have expands to the amount of time you have to give to it. I'll give you an example. If you have 2 weeks to finish a presentation for work, how long is it going to take you? 2 weeks. If you have 20 minutes to finish the presentation, how long is it going to take you? 20 minutes. See, any project that you have expands to the amount of time that you have to give to it. Now, what's interesting about this is think about January. And when you're thinking about your resolutions or thinking about your dreams and thinking about this plan to achieve your dreams, how big did those plans and those dreams expand? 12 months. Why? Parkinson's law. It expanded to the amount of time you have to give to it. Now let's think about September. How much time you got between now and the end of the year? You got 4 months. That's what you're working with. And the shorter the amount of time you have, the more productive you're going to be. Why? You have no choice. Tight deadlines amplify your focus. They increase your adrenaline if they're short enough. They force you to narrow your attention. And September creates a situation where your new goal or the thing you want to work on, we're shrinking that down into 4 months until the end of the year. Now, just think about how different a goal feels when you make it in September. All right, I want to stick to a budget between now and the end of the year versus January. I want to stick to a budget this year. Whoa, that's a big one. I want to get in shape in the next 4 months. I think I'm going to get in shape this year. Do you see the difference? I got to write a book by the end of the year. I think I'll write a book this year. Do you see how different that feels? Do you see how the difference of dreaming and expansion and 12 months to get something done versus, oh my gosh, it's going to be January before I know it. And if I want to make some stuff happen, I better use September and this fall season to my advantage. I better tap into the natural momentum and organization because if I want to get this thing done by the end of the year, I got to giddy up. If I want to be in a better place financially, I better get my budget done now. I have to take this coding class now if I want to get it done before the end of the year. I have to get my resume done now if I want to have a new job by the end of the year. And this goes even deeper than Parkinson's law, which has been around since the 1950s. It is a law about time that anything that you have to do will expand to the amount of time that you give to it. And if you want to increase your productivity, shrink the amount of time that you're going to spend on something. But it goes even deeper. And I love this next piece that I'm going to share with you because it allows me to bring January back in and allows me to bring January back in as a helper instead of somebody that we're up against right now. So Forbes Health did this survey where they looked at the goals that people set in January. And how long do you think the average goal lasts when someone sets it in January? So we're talking resolutions. I'm going to give up gluten. I'm going to exercise 5 days a week. I'm going to lay off the alcohol, whatever the goal is, right? How long do you think the average goal lasts for someone? And by that, I mean, how long are you thinking about it? You're working on it. It's on your radar. You're chipping away at it. Like before you actually either achieve the goal or you putter out, what is the average in months? Are you thinking about it? Do you have a number in mind? Good. That survey found that the average goal lasts, meaning somebody's got it top of mind, they're chipping away at it, 3.74 months. That's it. That's your attention span. That's your stamina for this kind of thing. And just stop and think. How many months are there in the fall season before we get to January? Pretty much the same. Pretty much 3.7, 4 months, right around the same. That's what you got until the end of the year. Isn't that great news? That right there, another example of why your chances of being successful are much higher right now. You not only got the end of the year as your deadline, so we got Parkinson's law working for you. We also got all this research that shows that's about what the attention span is anyway when somebody sets a goal. You also have all this momentum and organization and amazingness happening around you. You've got the back to school effect that is in your DNA. And so right now is the time for you to focus on you, for you to decide, I'm going to be more productive just naturally anyway, because the fall is the season when life changes. So let me use this to my advantage. I don't know about you, but when I hear all this stuff, I literally say to myself, this is so obvious. Why have I not seen this before? You're right, Mel. Why does September not have a ball drop and a big theme? And why are we not like all recognizing and waking up that this is the moment for me, that September is me time. It's go time. It's back to me time. Let's do this. So I rest my case. That is all the evidence I have for why September, not January, is the single best time for you to get productive, for you to tap into the momentum and the energy of change around you, and for you to focus it on yourself. And those 4 reasons are that, number 1, September is the true season of change. January is just when the calendar changes, but September is when life changes. So that's reason number 1. Reason number 2, back to school energy is in your DNA. And let's use that coding and that life experience in your DNA, not to go back to school unless that's what you want to do this fall, but to go back to you and to channel all of this back to school energy into you going back to focusing on yourself. Number 3, like it or not, in the fall, you are going to be more productive. You are going to get things done. You are going to feel the lift of everyone around you also in this cadence of change and stepping it up and doing new things and going to school. And so that is going to impact you. And I don't want you to just waste it on work. I want you to put it into something that's going to make you happier. I want you to put yourself first. I want you to use that motivation to do the things that you've been putting off for too long. This is the season for you. And number 4, it's only 4 months. We got 4 months until the end of the year. 4 months. Do you know what you could do in 4 months? Holy cow. If you really just opened your arms to the fall and you said, I am going to make these 4 months my month. I'm going to write that book. I'm going to start that YouTube channel. I'm going to take that AI certification class. I am going to go back to school. I'm going to lose the weight. I'm going to put myself first. I'm going to really focus on what I want to do. I'm going to go to bed an hour earlier. I'm going to wake up 30 minutes earlier. I'm going to get out the door and walk. These next 4 months, they're for me. Why wouldn't you take advantage of all that the fall has to give you? Why wait until it's cold and your money is gone and it's dark and it's after the holidays? Get selfish now. You've had a few months, I hope, to take the foot off the gas. I hope that you have had a really good summer or a good break between now and the fall. It's time to get serious about what matters to you. Put your money where your mouth is. Buy that $2 notebook. Then write September and the year on the cover. All you have to do is get started. Just pick one theme that you want to make some moves in. And here's what I'm going to tell you. If you don't know immediately what one project or one change or one habit or one anything that you immediately want to focus on, I'm going to tell you exactly what to do right now. Just focus these next 4 months on improving yourself. That's it. Focus on making yourself a little healthier, or focus on doing something every day that makes you a little happier. I mean, it could simply be signing up for an art class. It could be promising yourself that you're going to read for 10 minutes every night before you go to bed. It could be that you're going to go to bed a half an hour earlier. It could be anything that is going to make you feel like you are focused on improving yourself. I promise you that is always where you should start when you don't know what to work on. Because when you improve yourself, it starts to improve everything about your life, because your experience about life is generated based on how you feel, based on what you pour your time and energy into. So if fall is the time where you're going to be the most productive and you're going to have the most natural sense of momentum and organization, and you're going to have this innate sense in your DNA that you want to be doing something new, you want to be learning something, the single best subject always and forever is going to be deepening your understanding of yourself. It's going to be investing time in bettering yourself. It's going to be pouring your energy back into yourself. And so just like when you were a kid and you go to class all day, you're probably going to work all day or class all day now. When you get home at night, the homework isn't for school. It's not for your boss. It's for you. Those 30 minutes aren't going to be about reading a book so that you can take a test. It's going to be about pouring that time into something for 30 minutes that makes you happier, that makes you better. That's what this is about. And so you either at this point in our conversation today are like, I'm writing that book by the end of the year, or I am going to get to my goal weight by the end of the year, or I am going to find an apartment and move out of my parents' basement, or whatever the situation may be. You either have that thing or you don't. And if you don't, I just gave you your assignment. And your assignment is always and forever, whenever you are stuck or you do not know what to work on, always work on improving yourself. Fall is selfish time. Fall is go time. Fall is about you. So grab your pumpkin spice latte and your sweater and your new notebooks and let's get busy. The truth is, only about 10% of New Year's resolutions succeed. January is just when the calendar changes. September is when life changes.